You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome to Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari and we're so happy to have you today because we're talking about being proud of yourself. How often do we actually sit ourselves down and acknowledge what we're proud of, what we've achieved in our lives? Or how often do you turn to another person and say, I am so proud of you for X, Y, and Z? This is the day for us to do that. Let's be positive. Let's celebrate what we've done in our lives. Also, make sure you stay with us because our inspirational guest coming up, Chelsea Pete, although she has a birthmark that basically covers half of her face, she is very proud of how far she's come in being confident with her birthmark and being able to live her life full out as a mother and a wife and even a business owner. So stay with us. We'll be hearing her interview shortly. And we want to make sure that beyond today's show that you are supported. Make sure that you go to livingfullout.com if you'd like to hear today's show again. Or if you can go to the App Store, look up Living Full Out Radio. Or if you have Alexa, look up Living Full Out Radio. But nevertheless, today we just want to make sure that you really soak up being proud of yourself and all that you've done. Now, the thing is sometimes it's easier said than done, right? Sometimes we have to take an assessment and, what is going right in life? What is not going right? And that's why we do this show. It's a time for us all to personally develop and grow together. Now, in fact, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to Living Full Out Show.
Hi, I have a question for you today.
Yes, what's going on?
So how do you navigate being in a friendship with three people when it seems like someone's always left out?
It's kind of that three's a crowd situation sometimes, huh? So let me ask you a question. In this scenario, do you feel like you're the one that gets left out, or do you feel like you're leaving someone else out?
Sometimes I feel left out, but then I also kind of notice that someone else isn't talking or that we may be leaving them out too.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is okay in a group of three, because that's what we're talking about here. It is okay in a conversation for two people to go back and forth and the other person to listen. Mm-hmm. That is super okay because that's what makes all of us so great, right? We're not all going to enjoy or be knowledgeable and all the same things. So in that situation, it's completely fine. It's when we're doing things like going to dinner and maybe you don't invite that person, they find out, or going on a trip and maybe that person finds out. Those are times that get a little bit more sticky. And so in this scenario for you, are you trying to better figure out how to be more inclusive with this friend that gets left out all the time? Or are you trying to figure out how to raise your hand and say, hey guys, let me in?
I'd say let them know that I feel excluded sometimes, I guess.
Okay. And the reason why I asked that question, because that's really important. And in terms of my being able to give you the right coaching here. So have you talked to them? And do either of them get it? Do neither of them get it? Or they both get it?
They both get it.
They both get it. So they both know they leave you out.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Okay. And how does that make you feel?
I think it's good that they notice it and that they're trying to be better. But sometimes it still happens. So.
So here's what I would recommend you do. Now, each of these friends may have a different communication style. Okay, so pick the style that works best for each person. It may be different. So one might be someone that would hear what you're saying more when you're sitting in front of them or on the phone. The other person may hear what you're saying better in a written form, an email, a letter. And what I would do is I would write them a letter and I would just say, or have a conversation, and I would just give them maybe 2 examples of times that you felt left out and how it's made you feel. I would also give them in that letter, to bring balance, I would give them examples of why their friendship means so much to you and kind of balance that out. And then lastly, I would ask them, is there a reason why you sometimes leave me out? Because sometimes that's a scary question to ask, but the answer is important. It's kind of like when somebody breaks up with someone and they said, why are you breaking up with me? Right? Knowing the reasons, knowing the whys help us to be better. So what if they say, and I'm not saying this is true, but what if this isn't necessarily you, but somebody might leave somebody out because they're a big debater, a big arguer, and they're like, we know how you're going to react, right? You're going to argue, you're going to debate. So they might leave that person out. Someone else might get left out if they're very emotional and touchy and the other 2 people are walking on eggshells all the time. So I encourage you to touch on all 3 of those points, whether it be in a letter where you can really compose your thoughts or whether it be in a conversation. So number 1 or 2 examples of how you feel when you've been left out and how it's made you feel. Number 2, why you appreciate their friendship. And number 3, why do they leave you out? Why do sometimes they choose to do that? And I think you'll be really impressed to find out the reasons why. I think it'll be helpful. And then you can either choose to make changes or not. But at least you'll know. And the other thing that you're going to do is you're going to take your power back. Because when people leave somebody out or when you feel left behind, you give power away to the other people. They took that away from you. They left you out. Do you see that? But by doing this letter or having this conversation, you're taking your power back and you're saying you're doing I statements. I feel this way when I get left out. I appreciate your friendship for XYZ reasons. I want to grow and be better. So I would really like to know why you do what you do. And then take that info and you just continue to be the best you can be. Can you do that?
Yes, thank you.
You're very welcome. And good luck and keep us posted how that goes. Thank you.
I will.
Love that she asked that question, right? Because that's hard. That's a tough situation to be in. And we're talking today about being proud of who we are. And sometimes the most pride comes in when we're honest. When we're honest about where we're on, full throttle in life and we're doing well, but also honest in where we might need to make changes. And that might be asking the big question of why or reasons why from other people, but that also could be needing to make changes in our life in general. Maybe the people that you hang out with are not the best people to run with, that are not the people who support your dreams and goals. Maybe you need to make an environmental change. Maybe it's a career change, a relationship change, whatever it is. The key word there is change, because when you implement a change, when you ask a question, again, just like I told that last listener, you take the power back. Now you can be proud of that because the next decision that you make, you're making it with all that knowledge at your fingertips. I also want to make sure that over the course of this show, that you really take that assessment of what is going well in your life. I think so oftentimes right now I talk to coaching clients all the time and they call me up and it's this problem, that problem, and then the other 20 problems they have, right? And I will say to them, okay, let's put aside all these problems. I get it, they're there. But what is one thing you're proud of? And a lot of times they have to ponder it, they have to think about it. And so I want you to think about it. Are you proud of the friend that you are? Do you treat people well? Are you giving? Celebrate that. Are you somebody who is really on it at work? You're a great leader. You're somebody who manages people well, gets it done, a team player. Celebrate that. Now, it doesn't mean that everybody has to celebrate with you. You could be a party of one, right? But I believe that life is about celebrating. It's It's about celebrating milestones. It's about celebrating who you are. And when you do that, you can be proud of yourself. You can be proud of your accomplishments. You can be excited for what you've learned and how that's growing you as a person. And I know sometimes these are really tricky conversations to have and hard to really pinpoint those proud moments or mistakes we've made, but that is why we do this show. Now stay with us because we're going to be joined very shortly by Chelsea Pete, and she has had her ups and downs, right? She's really had to soul search, having this birthmark and what she could be proud of in her life. And she's going to share that with us. And throughout the entire show, just really consider, what do you admire about yourself? What changes might you need to make to get yourself on a positive track? Stay with us. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be right back.
Hi, professional skateboarder Tony Hawk here with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck to remind you to get moving every day.
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
you'll have the energy to skate through anything.
Nice play on words, Doc.
That's how I roll, Bugs. So whether you like to work the half pipe,
now that's catching air,
kick the soccer ball around, or dance in your room,
just move it your way
for an hour a day.
The way you like to move, as long as you're moving.
Carve out some time every day and get active. Because it's time to do a 180 on what you think exercise is.
Because it can be whatever you want it to be. So be a player.
Be a player.
Get up and play an hour a day, Doc. Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
At www.letsmove.gov. Let's hear that one more time, Doc. That's www.letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
I'm Nancy Solari, Certified Life and Business Coach. I want to invite you to the Personal Development Bootcamp. During the bootcamp, we're going to be looking at taking those insecurities that you have and getting rid of them. We're also going to look at ways in which you can thrive and live a life full of purpose. Go to livingfullout.com/bootcamp, livingfullout.com/bootcamp to sign up. I believe in you, and here's to you living your life full out.
I'm Sarah, and this is my story.
I'm Ellen, and this is my story.
One night, I was at a bar.
I
was having fun with my friends.
I
had one too many drinks.
I
got behind the wheel to go home.
I got a cab to go home.
All of a sudden, from out of nowhere, a squirrel ran across the road. It happened so quickly, I barely had time to react.
The cabbie barely had time to react.
I swerved.
The cab swerved.
I can't believe it. I hit a guy.
I cannot believe it. The cabbie just missed a guy.
I wish I took a cab.
Thank goodness I took a cab.
You have the choice to save a life. Don't drive buzzed. It's a decision you'll never regret. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America in your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
If you think depression is all in a person's head, you're right. It's a brain illness. And like other illnesses, it has symptoms. Depression can make those who suffer from it feel hopeless. It can even lead to suicide. Learn how to stop depression from taking another life. Call SAVE, Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, 1-888-511-SAVE, on the web at save.org.
I'm Alec Baldwin. Like any parent, I'm concerned about children's health. Many kids don't eat as they should and are at risk for long-term health problems like diabetes and heart disease. But here's good news. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and other low-fat vegetarian foods can protect our kids and keep the rest of the family healthy too. For a free booklet, call the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine at 1-877-685-KIDS or visit www.kidsgethealthy.org.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I am Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about being proud of yourself. I mean, I just even love saying that word proud, right? Because I don't think we shine a spotlight enough on the good moments in our life, you know, and what we've achieved and how we've weathered storms and the personal development that you maybe have gone through. Now, we have brought you an inspirational guest today who really had to go through her own journey of ups and downs, emotionally, physically, to get to where she is very proud of being a mother and a wife and just designing the life that she has. So I'd like to welcome today Chelsea Pete to the show. Hello, Chelsea.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, welcome, welcome. Boy, you had a very, very busy early start to life. And when I say busy, I mean your poor parents had to deal with so many unknown questions. Can you share with our audience, when you were born, they did notice that you had this birthmark on your face, right? That basically covers half your face. But what is your condition called?
I have a rare condition called sturge-webersyndrome. It only happens about 1 in 50,000.
And this birthmark that you have, just so our audience can visualize this, since you know it's radio here, where does it start and where does it end?
Well, it goes exactly halfway down my face. My whole left entire side of my face is covered, over my eye, cheek, down my chin bone, around past my ear, and back up into my hair. So it's quite dark, quite visible, big dark purple birthmark.
Okay, and thank you. I know you've kind of become more accustomed to talking about it, and you're comfortable in your own skin, but at the same time, it's kind of taken you a long time to get there. A lot of emotional bruises. I want to take our audience back a bit though, because along this journey of this rare condition, at 10 months, you started having seizures so severe that it was a 50-50 split whether you'd live or die. And I'm just curious, how do seizures affect this condition? Why are they related?
Because of the brain involvement. With Sturge-Weber, the birthmark isn't a regular birthmark. It doesn't just sit on the top layer of skin. It actually goes down deeper, and it affects every organ that happens to be in its path. So for me, it was my eye and my brain. And so at 10 months, that's where I began to seize, because the brain involvement and the blood flow was affected.
And then it wasn't too long after that, at 18 months, you were only the second child in Canada to have brain surgery. Now, as they went in to do this surgery, they actually found that they only had to take out a little section, right? Not exactly everything they thought they were going to do. But that further compromised your vision. In what way?
Well, I did already have the diagnosis of glaucoma in my left eye, because of it. Once again, the blood involvement had affected my eye. But with them removing a piece of my brain, it ended up being a small part in the back that affects vision. So the minute that piece was removed, it took with it 50% of my field vision in both of my eyes.
Wow. And I'm curious, you know, with all of this, was there any medications that you could take, you know, for the seizures, for the pain?
Well, they had me on everything that was available, even things that weren't on the market yet. They were trying me for the seizures, and nothing was helping. So they told my parents this was it. Like, if I didn't have the surgery, it was a death sentence for me.
Wow. And what do you remember in terms of your first memory? I know you had a very loving family, right? Great parents. But,
yes, definitely.
You know, when did you first kind of catch on that you had this birthmark and that, you know, you were different in the way that you looked?
Well, probably, you know, the preschool, school-age time, you know, you'd have people at the shopping. My mom would be out shopping, and people would come up to her and ask her if it was a bruise, if she needed to, you know, have help to escape an abusive relationship, or if I'd been burned, and they'd kind of question and ask what was wrong. But for me, the memories that I remember the most would be kindergarten and having the kids blatantly point out, you know, what's that on your face? And I was kind of left going, just my birthmark.
That's tough. That's really tough. And of course, when Batman came out, that didn't help the situation either. What did they call you, the bullies?
Definitely. The one Batman movie I can remember him walking on stage was the character of Two-Face. And the minute that movie came out, I knew that was going to be my nickname. And sure enough, I went to school, and that was the first thing the kids called me was Two-Face.
And the thing is, you have a heart of gold. You are sweet. You're like somebody I would go to happy hour with, right? But
oh, thank you.
No, you are. But at the same time, your journey was not having a lot of gal pals, a lot of friends. And do you think that was because they were scared of the birthmark? They just didn't understand it?
In some context, yes. I would talk about my syndrome, and the minute people hear syndrome, they automatically assume I don't have the regular IQ of anyone my age. And yes, the birthmark, I think, really did scare them visually. They felt they were worried that their social circles would be affected and their status would be affected if they let someone who didn't look normal hang out with them. So yes, for me growing up, I still don't have the same circle of friends that, people my age do.
Mm-hmm. Well, and on top of the seizures, on top of brain surgery, again, 10 months, 18 months, you also started at 4 years old laser treatments. But what was the goal there?
Well, the pediatric dermatologists and doctors and things had told my parents that with the laser treatments, they could lighten, not potentially completely remove, but they could lighten my birthmark to the point that I could probably get away with just wearing some light makeup and I could have my birthmark be gone.
Now, what is this laser treatment like? Is it painless? Is it painful?
It is painful. It is extremely painful in the sense, it caused me a lot of strife over the years. But it's probably the equivalent of a good burn. It's a nice zap, and I still can't handle an elastic band, for example, around me snapping because of everything associated with that young trauma of it all. But it's a burn. It's not comfortable. You have to lay in a dentist-type chair to have it done, and it was too much for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, as a little girl growing up, and then obviously going into teenage years and all of that, not having the friendship circles due to your birthmark, how did you kind of manage that? Did you dive yourself into schoolwork? Did you find any way to be athletic, or did you just kind of stay at home and be a homebody?
I turned to music. Music was always my piece of therapy. I found that, if I could turn on my Discman or my big stereo in my room and just listen to tunes and sing along, singing for me was my therapy. I know that after a hard day, I could just come home, look at my parents. They know I'd had a horrible day, and they would just let me go to my room and turn on my music and sing.
You know what? I have a feeling a lot of people today after the show are going to turn on their music and sing. Sometimes that is the best way to cry, to get out frustration and anger. And it's so great that you had music when you felt so alone. Stay with us, Chelsea, because we're going to continue with your story when we come back. Everybody, today it is about being proud of yourself. But you have to go through sometimes the fire. Sometimes you have to fall down and pick yourself up to find those moments. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We're going to be right back after this break. Stay with us.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan, and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee, and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way. With just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. I am excited to let you know that we are now associated with Alexa. If you have Alexa in your house and you didn't know that, go ahead and find Living Full Out because you can hear us anytime you want, and we're there for you to keep you motivated. Go to your app store because we're located there as well. Just look for the Living Full Out radio show. It's important to us that we put out really inspiring programming, but we want to make sure that you have it at your fingertips when you need us most. We never know when those challenges are going to come, when we're going to feel lonely and need that motivation. So just know that when you need us, we're here for you. Check out Alexa, the app stores, or go to livingfullout.com. Here's to you living full out.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show, and today we're talking about being proud of ourselves. And sometimes we have to go through the journey of life and crawl through the really hard times to get to the point where you can say that. And our inspirational guest today, Chelsea Pete, she has really found her way of being proud of her life, proud of her birthmark, proud of what she's gone through to come out the other end and live full out. So very much like to welcome Chelsea back to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, Chelsea, you are my hero. Okay, because I can appreciate some of the awkward moments you've had. My disability, being legally blind, is internal. I mean, someone might know looking at me if I'm veering off that I can't see, but your birthmark is right there, and that's tricky when it comes to milestones in life that people might pursue, like dating. So when you were growing up, and I know you met your husband young, so that was good. You met him early, but you still had to go through those moments. What was that like? How would or did you feel like you constantly had to explain yourself, or?
Well, for me, the teen years, high school, there was no dating. There wasn't anybody really to kind of experiment or, grow up and have those experiences with. Small town, the boys didn't want a thing to do with me. It wasn't until I had moved to a bigger city, started college, and just out of the grace of goodness, happened to find my husband. That is fate in itself for me.
He sounds like a good man. You got a good one. So great job there.
Definitely.
and I also know for you, I mean, applying for a job is already stressful, but let alone an interview that can be, anxiety driven. But then, you would think I got the job and then go in for the in-person. And then you were faced with having to explain yourself. What was that like?
That is a struggle still, even to this day, if I have to go in for an interview. I can talk with the managers on the phone, and it can sound great and promising and make it sound like I've pretty much got the deal. I walk into the interview, take a look at them assessing me, assessing my face, and no, I'm not getting a call back. It's heartbreaking to try and still go through that interview. I can give 110%, but know that in the end it's not going to matter because that's not the face that they want for their company, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah. And I bring each of these moments up because this is why Chelsea's my hero, because she has a smile on her face. She is proud of her life, but these are very stressful, awkward moments. And I know that you even had one when you were 16. You went to the hospital for a glaucoma issue you're having, but a physician really made you feel unsettled.
Yes, showed up in the emergency because I was having a migraine, and I had the physician come around the curtain and kind of jokingly say, "Oh, is this patient the one that's having the allergic reaction?" And my mom and I just looked at each other, and he laughed it off, and he went, "Oh, I'm kidding." But by then, you can't take the physician serious if they're going to make a joke about something that you have no control over in the sense. And the fact that I had nothing related to my face that I was coming in for, it was an eye issue, I was left flabbergasted.
Yeah. And you've gone through each of those different moments, but yet today you don't hide your birthmark. You, in some ways, are proud of it. You talk about it, right? And
Yes.
You're really an advocate for others who have birthmarks. But how did you go from that to today? Because for others who have burns on their body or faces, birthmarks, whatever it is that is physical for people to see, and maybe they get stares and whispers and all that, what did you do to get through that?
Well, it's not to say that it hasn't been a struggle. There's always going to be those dark times, those dark days, but it's learning to have that self-love, that self-appreciation, to be proud of yourself in the sense that you are your own person. Obviously, fate chose you to look this way for a reason. That is why, for example, I advocate for people with birthmarks and facial differences and disfigurements, things that are out of their control, that they themselves are their own persons. We are beautiful, incredible people, and it is our destiny, in a sense, to then show the world how incredible some of us are if you just get past that initial, they're not normal, but instead love us for who we really are.
I don't even know what normal is anymore, though, in these new times. I don't even know if there is a normal, but I hear you. I hear you. And, there's people in our audience today who may have, a relative of theirs or a friend who is dealing with this. And a lot of times it's hard to answer the why me. Why was I born with a birthmark? Why was I born with RP? We never get the answer, but how have you handled that question?
It's coming to the realization that, why struggle and why be sad and why be frustrated? I mean, yes, you're going to be frustrated and go, why can't I have it the easy way? But for me, it's the sense of going, why not instead show people how incredible your life can be, being different, taking it and just rolling with it and leaving my own mark, even if it's a birthmark, but leaving my mark on the world, letting them see these incredible sense of who I am while letting them see who they can be.
I love that. And your mom actually was a great example, and she gave you good advice on how to handle when people would say a comment. What did she tell you then, and what do you still apply today?
Well, if they're going to stare, walk up to them, ask them a question, because they're probably just not sure what the problem is. So ask, educate. I still to this day will kneel down and talk to that little one that asks me what's on my face. But it's the advice that I kind of give now, which is if you're going to stare, either take the picture or ask for my autograph, because there's obviously a reason that you think I'm cool, that you're taking the time to assess me.
Well,
enjoy yourself.
I enjoy yourself. Have that picture. And also, obviously you're a mother of 2.
Yes.
But I imagine even that has been tricky because, you found your hunky husband, right? You got good friends, that are loyal friends, even though it's not a big network. You have a few that are loyal and good. But
Definitely.
When you had your children, I imagine it was kind of like being in grade school, the pointing all over again, let alone the parents. I mean, have you found that to also be an obstacle?
Yes. I know having my oldest going through school with her, it was definitely reliving all those fun memories of elementary school, having the pointing, the whispering, the talking. And that's been tricky. But in the same regard, it's also mind-blowing to see what kind of parenting I obviously am doing when my oldest then turns around to her classmates, looks at them and goes, "Guys, it's just a birthmark. Get over it." And I go, wow. I wished I'd had a friend or someone in my class stand up and do that for me. So, to know that I'm raising girls that are going to be able to advocate for me, I just have a bigger cheering section.
I love it. I love it. And, today we are talking about, being proud of ourselves. And, you've given so many great positive, insights to how you approach life today. I mean, you got through the hard times, but you look at it more with a glass half full mentality. But at the same time, for somebody in our audience today who is just feeling awkward, who doesn't want to leave the house, what would you tell them?
Oh, definitely, it's hard to love yourself when everything around you is telling you because you are different or you look different or you think different or something is out of the realm of the norm, that it's your fault, when in fact it's not. It's taking that step outside. It's making that friend. It's starting that conversation that is what's going to get things moving, the ball rolling in the world a little brighter and happier. It's getting that strength to become friends with someone who maybe is sitting by themselves in the lunch room or, looks different and seems to be struggling. It's those people that take the time to love that we need more of. And that's where it starts with you.
We definitely do. Yeah. And everybody listening today can do that. You can look for that one person that looks kind of sad or by themselves. And lastly, I just want to point out, you also made the decision. You did those laser surgeries from like 4 to 21.
Yeah.
What made you finally decide enough's enough?
At 21, I took a look in the mirror and I said, why am I going through this pain to make other people comfortable? Why do I have to go through this to look the norm, in a sense of looking like everyone, when obviously there was a reason that I was made to look different, and I've taken a step with that every day to advocate for people with facial differences.
And even though you have this facial difference, this birthmark, which I think is beautiful, it makes you, it's your signature, it makes you you.
Definitely.
What have you had to do now? How do you live full out in life?
I don't let anyone's negative comments or any negativity in the sense of who I am affect who I am. I live every day to the fullest. I make sure that I'm having as beautiful and positive of a life as anyone else around me does. I don't let my birthmark stop me. In fact, I use it to motivate me as I use it to help motivate others. It's not letting the fact that I don't look a certain way affect what I get done or how I achieve my goals. It's being proud of who I am.
I love that. Chelsea, you are just amazing. Again, you're my hero. I'll say it again at the end of the interview. But thank you so much for being on today's show and sharing your story and being that light in the world. And you got a lot of friends here at Living Full Out. So we absolutely wish you all the best. And thank you again for sharing your story.
Thank you so much for having me, Nancy. I'm so happy to be on with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chelsea. And just like Chelsea, again, I'm in awe of guests like her. And I bet I would be in awe of you because we've all overcome something. If you have had gone through it, like you've had an injury, an accident, a crisis in your life. Maybe you have a disability like I do. Whatever that is, please write out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Let us know, what you've overcome. Make sure to give us your contact information, and potentially we will have you on the show as a guest so you can inspire our audience. That is what it's about. And when you're writing that email to us, let us know what you're proud of as well, because you get through the fire, you get through the trenches, but you grow as you do that. You start to develop what are the traits that are signature to only you. How did you survive it? And even being proud of that. So we look forward to receiving your email. Again, it's connect@livingfullout.com. And we're going to be coming back, taking your calls. But again, today it's all about being proud of yourself and figuring out, what are those qualities? What are those actions, those moments in life that really stand out? Let's celebrate those. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be right back.
So I'm a cat. And I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something, and... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just got a text.
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. So many comments on my comment. Hey, guys, check out my new video game. Mom, what? Huh? Pew, pew. What'd you say?
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Thanks for asking, but I'd rather not send you nude pictures. I'm camera shy. I already said no. It's against my religion. I'm giving my dog a bath. You can have pictures of that. Pressure gives me hives. Under my clothes, I'm a robot. Hold on, let me ask my mom. Sorry, my webcam is broken. I'm worried they'll get passed around school. Unfortunately, I just had my clothes surgically attached to my body. If they got out, I might never be president. I'm already naked, under my clothes. Not even if you were all three Jonas Brothers. I have a rash. I have nudophobia. I have lizard skin. The more you ask, the less I want to. You're not the boss of me. Nudity makes me vomit. I'm a vampire, so I don't show up in pictures anyways. Your badgering has really killed the mood.
When someone is pressuring you to do something you don't want to, how many ways can you say no before they get the message? Let us know at that'snotcool.com. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearms storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day.
Football
I want to be a
stadium.
bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
What? What about our plan to win the lottery and start living? You know, travel the world on matching yachts, wear enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacation on the French Riviera, and then buy it.
You know we're never going to win the lottery, right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
When it comes to being proud of yourself, look back at your life, see what it is that you've accomplished, big and small, and celebrate that. Also, look at the qualities that are signature to only you, and, celebrate that as well, and let those shine. Let those attributes that are you live full out and be signature to only you.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we've been talking about being proud of yourself. And I just really love this topic because I think so oftentimes we're surrounded by bad news on TV, or someone might call you up and then all of a sudden they're expressing all this anger or conflict in their life. And so it is perfectly good to have good things happening, to be proud of yourself, to smile, but you have to be willing to turn that page and say, you know what? I am not going to put up with the drama. I am not going to focus on the conflict. I am going to put myself first. I'm going to be proud of who I am. I'm going to not be ashamed of the accomplishments I've done, and I'm not going to feel bad if I've surpassed other people. I want to make sure that I highlight what I've done good, because you work hard, right? You want to celebrate that. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. Let's go check in with them. Hi, welcome to Living Full Out Show.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for calling in. How can I help you?
Okay, so I just had a question. I recently just got out of a long-term relationship, and I feel like I'm ready to get back into the dating scene, but I'm a bit nervous and was wondering if you had any tips on how to stay confident.
Well, I actually love dating. I think it's a hoot. It's a little bit like an interview, so consider the fact that all these candidates are going to be coming by. You get to, find the right soulmate, right? The one. So here's the thing. Do you have any friends who have had good luck online, whether it be an online site like Match or an app like Bumble?
I've had my roommate actually met one of her boyfriends on Tinder, but they just broke up recently.
Okay, well, that's
So I
okay.
don't know.
It's still a win. It's still manifested from an app,
That's true.
right? And then have you had any other friends meet like through a church or a club or a class or something like that?
I've tried a couple of clubs in college, but something, I don't know, it's just not really worked out for me.
Okay. And the reason why I'm asking these questions is, number one, and I'm so glad you said it just didn't work out for me, right? Number one,
Yeah.
as you surge into this new realm of dating, you want to look at what has worked for you and what hasn't, and it's good to go in a direction of new. You also want to ponder what has worked for other people and maybe interview other people who recently started dating someone, or maybe they've dated for a year, and kind of ask them how they met. Because when we talk about confidence and dating, sometimes the confidence comes from knowing that you have options, right? So if there's only one way to meet somebody, and then they feel like the pool is small and it's not quite what they want, it's easy to get discouraged, and it's easy to get unconfident, thinking it won't work out. Whereas if you kind of take an assessment of all these different options that are out there, online, in-person, dating app, you name it, maybe even a dating service who matches you up, right? Then you're more confident because you're not going to settle. You're not going to get discouraged. The other thing
I
you
don't
want
want
to
to settle.
No. We don't do that. We don't do that here at Living Full Out. No settling. But the other thing, too, is what do you think is your greatest attribute?
My greatest attribute?
Mm-hmm. What are you good at? Like if somebody's going to date you, Why are you a winner in their life? What are you good at? What are you going to bring to them?
I feel like one of my greatest strengths is that I'm a good listener, I guess.
Okay. Now, do you think that a future mate would find that to be appealing? Absolutely.
I would think so.
I would think so too. Here's what I'm getting at is as you start to put together either a profile for your dating profile or whether you are starting to think about things that you're going to say on this date, you want to have your go-tos. What are you proud of about yourself? You're a good listener. Maybe you're a really good writer. Maybe you're an excellent cook. Who knows? You want to start thinking of these things that will boost your confidence. So when you go on that date, you're just shining bright, right? You feel good about yourself. And so knowing those special qualities that are signature to you allow you to put yourself out there, allow you to not settle. Do you see that?
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think that's some really good advice.
Yeah, so I think you're going to have a great time, and we don't know who that lucky partner down the line is going to be, but we do know one thing. They're going to meet a great listener who's confident, and she's just rocking and rolling. Okay?
Exactly. Thank you so much.
You got it. Thank you for calling in. And for everybody listening today, it is all about being proud of yourself, right? What are those qualities? What are those accomplishments? Celebrate them. The entire Living Full Out family thanks you for listening today. Make sure you check out this show again by going to livingfullout.com, or if you have Alexa or if you go to the App Store, look out for Living Full Out Radio. And, most of all, we believe in you very much. We know that there's hard days, but we also know that you are survivors. You're mover, you're shakers. You got this. You are living your life full out. See you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.